Fitzy, I think it's only. Oh, I think we're live. Hey, it's only 1 week to the election. You excited or what?
Yeah, I know.
I'm excited for it to be
We're
over.
gonna have to yeah, you don't know this, but I can't be on next week because it's Jeff Wallace's last day, so I got to be over there. So we'll have to make our predictions today, maybe. I don't know. I didn't.
Oh, okay. We could totally do that. Good. Oh, I didn't know you were going to be off. All right. We'll get to all that.
Good. I didn't know until last night. So
got it. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. It is Positive Tuesday today, March 25th, 2025. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching The Big Show. Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the outside and on the inside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today. See what they can do for you. 715-520-2271. Fitzy, good morning.
Good morning.
How was your week last week?
It was crazy. So we had hockey. We won. I'm off to St. Louis this afternoon for the championships games, and so
wait, slow down. For people who don't know what's going on, fill us in. It was Jace, right? I thought I saw something like Holly, your wife, put out on Facebook yesterday, I think.
Yeah, so we had playoffs this weekend. If we won 2 out of 3, and it went game 3. Friday night we lost. Saturday night, they came back and won in overtime. And then we won 3-2 on Sunday night in Milwaukee. So we drove home Sunday night. Then we're driving back to St. Louis tomorrow. Well, this afternoon, actually. We're starting our trip down there. And then they play in St. Louis for the NA3 championship. There's 6 teams left in the league out of 35, and we're one of those 6. And we got a pretty good chance. We got a great goalie. We've got every line can score goals. In fact, every line did score a goal. It's not like the same line scored a goal. Every line scored a goal this weekend. So we got 4 lines that can score goals, and it's pretty cool. It's cool. It's an NA3 championship. It's really cool, but it's the friendships and that I don't want to end for kids in any sport. You see that. You see it in the NCAA tournament. You just see these kids. They're upset, when they lose. And so it's not a one and done this time. So it's pretty nice. It's a 2 and done. But if we win one of the 2 in the next 2 days, we'll end up playing Saturday. If we play Saturday, then we play in the championship on Sunday. And we got a pretty good shot. Tough teams, some bigger teams from out west. So this is teams across the United States. There's a team from Central, Western, Eastern. So there's teams from all over. So
what line does Jace play on?
He's on the first line.
First line?
So, he's a left winger, and unless they're on a power play, then he's a center. He's the passer. He's got second, third highest and fourth highest in points on the team. But he didn't play, 12 games for him because he got moved up. So those points don't count.
Oh, sure.
So he got moved around a little bit, playing up in the NAL. This is the NA3. Then you have the NAL. Then you have the, college hockey. So, his goal is to play college hockey someday. This will help him again. This is getting you out there in front of scouts and in front of people, college teams. So it's a good experience for kids. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's just a lot.
What's the experience like for the dad though? Like, good Lord. I mean, I don't want him to lose, but at the same time, jeepers creepers,
Going
on.
I gotta drive to St. Louis.
No kidding. So you're driving there.
Yeah, well, it's no use to fly. It's 8 hours of driving. But if you go to Minneapolis and get in an airplane, you got to wait 2 hours. I might as well. Then you got to rent a car when you get there. So I can drive. I mean, I don't take enough days off anyway. This is probably good for me too. So,
your dad, he's a great player and young man.
Yeah.
All right, so I keep forgetting I need to talk to him about that car. I'm just saying, if you're ever looking to get rid of that thing, I know a buyer. Speaking of sports, I don't know if you saw this article. Wisconsin high school exploits shot clock rule to prevent inferior basketball opponent from comeback. This is from a website called Pro Bible. And I didn't know this, but I actually didn't know that high school, like half the states, there's a shot clock for basketball, and the other half there isn't, and there's reasons for that. But this team, they were winning, I think it was like Marshfield or something, that they were winning by like 32-18, and the last 10 minutes they didn't even shoot the ball. 10 minutes
Yeah.
because there's no shot clock. You don't have to shoot. So
Right.
they just wait till they got
don't.
fouled. And like, I don't know. I mean, first of all, I don't mind them doing it because that's the rules, right? If you don't like the rules, change them. But what are your thoughts about should I don't know? Do you like the no shot clock in high school basketball?
I think there should be a shot clock. I just think there should be. I mean, Emma played basketball for, in high school basketball, but you can run a delay for 3 or 4 minutes, and it's not fun as a fan. It's not fun as a player. I mean, there's, passing the ball and throwing it across, but you can steal it, you can foul, you can do it, but there should be a shot clock, but it's a huge expense to schools. And some of these smaller schools don't have the money to institute a shot clock. So, it's got to be statewide when you do it. So I think they should and then start saving up. In 2 years, we're going to have a shot clock in high school sports. I think they should. But it's a huge expense technology wise. You got to have, where to put it in gyms. You got how to control it. New rules to reset it. When it touches the rim, someone's got to be there to reset the shot clock all the time. So
it's one extra employee, and right now a lot of school referendums coming up. I mean, is that
I
something?
get it, but that's it'd be a good survey for Dryden Wire someday. Shot clock in high school sports. Should we do it?
That's really good. By the way, good morning, Dirk. Good morning, Wayne and Carol, and of course your dad Dan, Matthew from Hayward. Thanks for chiming in, and Laura. Oh, Laura Gapsky. Oh my goodness, I haven't heard her name in a long time. How are you, Laura? Oh my, she. Boy, you know what, Laura? Put in what you do now. I forgot, but she ran in the 73rd Assembly District. That was against what, Angie Sapek? 2 years ago or something? I think that was like a super, super close race. Laura, good to see you this morning. So, yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like from a fan's perspective, you should probably have a shot clock because that's kind of boring. It's just like keep away. So, kind of dumb. We didn't do a show last week because you, like 45 minutes before, you sent me a text and said, hey, bad crash, can't do the show. We'll get to that. We have a whole bunch more to get to. We'll get to all that in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Spooner Health, compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
Oh, there we go. I'm like, what just happened? Live shows. What are you going to do?
And Spooner Health needed it some more. We said they weren't in the news. Now they're in the news. Now Spooner Health is.
Oh yeah, do you see that? So they got an award. I found it. And here's the interesting thing. There was something that was kind of buried in here. I want to make sure I had it up. Mike Schaefer, Spooner Health receives, not Mike Schaefer, but the Spooner Health receives 2024 Press Ganey Human Experience Pinnacle of Excellence Award. This is award.
Sounds like they made that up.
That does sound like they made that up. The global leader of this award is part of Press Ganey's annual ranking of the top hospitals and health systems in the country, according to performance in patients' experience. But here's the part that is like the third paragraph down. In addition to receiving the prestigious Pinnacle of Excellence Award, Spooner Health also received the Guardian of Excellence Award for Employee Experience. This highly coveted Pinnacle of Excellence Award for Employee Experience was presented to just 9 healthcare organizations across the United States this year. Yeah. Just 9.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Mike.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Since you started advertising with us.
Yeah, and since you've come on the show, every time someone comes on the show, they start winning awards.
That's right.
Just saying. Oh, Laura, I worked Minnesota Department Children. Oh, bless your heart. That's God's work right there. Child Safety Consultants, Superior School Board. Good to see you. Aw. Yeah, good to hear from you, Laura.
School board, thank you for doing that. Not many people want to do that anymore.
No, they don't.
But,
hey,
back to Mike, though. I mean, it is pretty cool. I mean, to be 9 awards in the United States and to have the 99th percentile of employee engagement. I mean, but that shows Mike's leadership. He cares about people. He cares about the job. He cares about Spooner. I mean, that's why, that's what it is. It's what it's about. It's about caring for your people. And that's what you have to do as a leader. And so it's pretty cool. You can say whatever you want, and I know not every experience everybody has is perfect with law enforcement, but none of us, you, me, Mike, none of us are perfect. We all learn from it, but we all care about our jobs, and
Yeah.
we want the best that we can do. So, but no, not everybody's going to be happy, but 99 percentile is
I mean,
pretty darn close.
that's pretty legit. I'll just say it. 99% of the things I do, people aren't really no. I mean, if you could have in your job and in my job, 99% of people saying, "Hey, we like everything you do," that's pretty incredible. I wanted your quick initial thoughts. Last week, it was announced that we put on our website, Henry Repeating Arms commits 100% of its operations to Wisconsin. Their headquarters is in Rice Lake, newly redone. I think there's a couple in Ladysmith. What are your? Is that? I'm assuming that's good for Barron County, right? I mean, you saw this from a law enforcement standpoint. You're like, hey, this is good. Maybe not even from a law enforcement standpoint, but just from being a citizen in Barron County. I'm assuming this is good.
It's huge. I mean, to move a plant from New Jersey and to make all of your guns right here in Rice Lake or in Barron County and Ladysmith, Rush County, it's a big deal. I mean, this is a huge thing. And Henry Repeating Arms is, a manufacturer of guns that people want. People go to the store to buy a gun. I don't go buy a lot of guns, but when they do, they say they want Henry guns. I mean,
really,
Henry is a top selling. Everybody wants a Henry Golden Boy 22s. When you go to events, you go to social events and Boys and Girls Club events and everybody wants a Henry gun. Henry gun. So,
wait, Boys and Girls Club? What?
Well, you do it to raise money. You sell guns and, you have a gun board or something like that. You don't sell it to the kids. No.
I was like, that's kind of weird.
No, but that's how you make money. I don't.
Okay. So like if Kenneth asked me for Christmas, he wanted a Henry. You're 15, buddy. No, you're not going to get a gun at 15 years old. I thought that's where you were going with it. But yeah, no. Obviously, I don't like guns. Gross. I mean, great that everybody has it. It's a fine, but not for me.
We're not against guns, but
no.
I carry one, and but I don't hunt. So, but no, that's a big thing for Barron County. So,
well, Larry says big deal. Jobs. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm assuming that does increase. I should talk to Dave Armstrong because he's a part of the Economic Development Corporation or the executive director there in Barron County and a representative. He had put out a press release saying it was a huge deal too. So hey, if everybody says it's a huge deal, it's a huge deal.
It's a big deal. It's a good deal. And they just remodeled, and that creates jobs when people remodel their factory and they put a big addition on and redid that whole. It looks really nice, and hats off to them. And anything local, when something's made and made here and assembled here, that's a big deal. So,
as we said earlier, we had to cancel the show like 45 minutes before the show was going to air last week. Later that day, you put out essentially the reason why you weren't able to be on. Our headline was "Fatal Rollover Crash in Barron County Leaves 1 Dead, 2 Seriously Injured." For people who didn't see that, what was that about?
Yeah, that 6 just after. Hang on, I better shut this. So, just after 6 yesterday or last Tuesday, we received a call of a serious crash. We had to do recon. We had to extricate. One person was deceased. 2 were flown out. Not many times that we'd land 2 helicopters at the same second, but we had both helicopters landed. Multiple EMS. We even had to get the tow truck there right away to help us extricate. But hats off again to our Tech Fire Department and all the work that they put into this and trying to get that person out and extricating 2 people and working hard to get the 3rd person out. And it was struggling. It was on its roof. It had rolled over right across a river or a little creek. So we were battling elements. We were battling trees. I mean, it was into the woods. It wasn't just into the ditch. So it was a terrible scene. Hats off again to EMS, fire, tow trucks, air helicopters. I mean, people, I've said it 100 times, support those pancake breakfasts, support those whatever they have for fundraisers, because our local firemen are critical to these needs, our EMS, everything. So it's important to do that. Tragic event, my understanding through Facebook. Again, we don't get updates. People like, you should update us on this. And I'm like, we don't get updates when people, that's called HIPAA. We can't get there. If they go bad, I have to do a new press release. If they're doing good, usually you don't see a press release from law enforcement. So, so that's where I don't give updates on that. So if family members want to put posts on their Facebook, that's fine. And I heard that one's still maybe in the hospital and one's out of the hospital, but that's not officially for me. That comes from Facebook, so you can take it where you want on that. So, but again, hats off to everyone that worked that scene. Our deputies too. I mean, our deputies were down there, through the hill and through the river and into the trees to do what they need to do. So State Patrol reconstructed it. The highway shop was there and closed the road. So don't know the cause of that one. We're still under investigation. We don't know if it was speed, alcohol, medical. We're investigating all of that. This was a little bit more is going into this one than normal because we don't know. We just don't know the cause. We can't figure out the cause right now yet. So,
no, and to be clear, is that the State Patrol? A lot of it is going to be based on their reconstruction of it. Is that what's the?
No, that's just how the accident happened, not why it happened. Just
understood
what happened, what the car's speed, the car's direction, the car's everything. We know who the driver was. We're doing interviews. We're assigning that to our detectives. We just have to do that because there may be some criminal charges to come out of this one. So we don't know the factors of this case yet. So so it could be an accident.
It could be anything.
Based on information. Right. So it could be anything. So we're working on that. And I did push back. Somebody said, the sheriff's department didn't say prayers to everyone, or they didn't offer their condolences. Well, we offered our condolences directly to those families. We didn't put that in our press release. And, I fired back and said, we do this in person. We don't just, sometimes we do, but when you're typing a press release, you want to get all the facts
Just
straight.
stick to the facts,
Sometimes,
right? Take your emotion out of it. I know that sounds horrible, but I'm perfectly fine with that, right? Just stick to the facts. Here's what it is. Just informing the community of what's going on. Because I think it gets into a dangerous, you cross that line, and it's just kind of the slippery slope of if you start saying, adding your opinions or pieces, like, well, when we do Dryden Wire stories, we don't add our part to it like we do our original crime and court stories. It's here are the facts based on criminal complaints and public record. We don't add anything else because I think it's a little dangerous when you get in there, but you want to, but probably a good idea. Hey, there's a question here from Stacy. I heard a rollover this morning not long ago with a baby in Barron County this morning. Is that true?
Don't know the answer to that. There was an accident this morning, but I know nothing about it, so it wasn't serious. If it was, I know the State Patrol was on one, so I guess if the State Patrol handled it, I wouldn't know about it. I mean, I'm sure our people were there, but I wasn't alerted to anything. So,
okay. Tiffany says, I'm glad you said something back to that comment. People are ridiculous sometimes. Yeah, you can always tell, by the way, when we're getting close to an election. We'll get to our election stuff in a minute, because, oh my goodness, the comments are just ridiculous. I mean, and you could put here's a picture of a rainbow. Elon Musk is buying the Supreme Court race. What does that have to do with anything that you're talking about? It's so funny.
Or how can you like a rainbow? You have a D or an R by your name. Why do you like a rainbow? I'm
like,
that has nothing to do with it. It's pretty.
It's just off the hook. It's so funny. Yeah. I want to ask you. So this was an article. It was the Grantsburg Police Department over in Burnett County, a press release. Our headline was multi-agency raid uncovers DMT manufacturing operation in Grantsburg, Wisconsin. It was on our website, and I was wondering, so I don't really know what DMT is. It stood for like an NNT. Hold on, where is it? Oh, there it is.
And
it stands for N,N-dimethyltryptamine. Commonly known as DMT, a powerful restricted controlled substance and hallucinogen. I've never heard of that before. Is this something new? Are you aware of it?
We are aware of it. We talked about it yesterday in our detective meeting. I think we're going to see people try to do different drugs, try to make different drugs. So hats off to their efforts. I think we'll see meth come back.
Oh, okay. You made it sound like people are going to try different drugs. Hats off to their effort. No. I thought you meant like what?
No.
You mean law enforcement?
Effort of the police department for taking down, these operations, and whether they're big, they're small, it doesn't matter. Any drug is too much. But I think.
Well, she was numerous firearms were in there as well, but she remains in Burnett Jail on charges of well, I don't think they should say charges, right? Because just whatever. Arrested on manufacture of controlled substances, maintaining a drug trafficking place. But there was something in here about, possession of methamphetamine. So is it in the methamphetamine world?
Well, it's a hallucinant, so I don't know that it's the same effects as meth. I don't know if it's cheaper meth, if it's easier to make. It's made from plants and a derivative of some plant. Obviously, most things are. So I don't know much
Mm.
about it. My drug unit wasn't in this morning. I know we talked a bit about this morning. We are, again, as we talked about before, we're watching the cost of meth go up. As the cost of meth goes up, I think more people are going to try to do things like this, and just spray, grow marijuana, spray it with chemicals, and call it something else.
Are
I mean,
meth labs are meth labs going to come back?
I don't know that they're going to come back. I mean, I don't know. If the price goes up, I think people are going to try to make it again. It's just really hard to make meth. It's a really quality is going to be bad. It's hard to get the Sudafed and the behind the counter drugs at these, because you have to fill out your name and address and show your ID when you go buy those kind of over the counter drugs, not over the counter, behind the counter drugs, at our and they have to provide those logs to us. So meth is hard to make, but I think they're going to try to make it if the price increases. Hasn't increased yet. We're still watching that. But as we do that, I think people are going to try to do something different. And this is something different. I don't know how you make this. I don't know much about it. I've heard of it before, but again, not in the area. It's kind of like cocaine. I heard about it a couple weeks ago. We haven't had a cocaine case in a while. But there may have been an arrest. Somebody may have had cocaine or some small amount of it. Now, if that tests positive when we send it to the crime lab for cocaine, I don't know if it was just a test, if it was mixed with meth, or if it was, just somebody put some chemicals on meth to try to make meth stronger, and it didn't test positive for meth and test positive for something else. We send all those to the crime lab to get analyzed, and see if it's really cocaine. So it's kind of like cocaine. You hear about it, but we don't see it around here. I don't know much about this one. I hope we don't. Hallucinogens are bad. I mean, it messes you up, and then people try to drive and we get accidents. So that's my fear when it comes to stuff like this. And so, but I don't know much. But again, hats off to law enforcement for doing all they can to put a stop of it.
Yeah. You had mentioned earlier, and I wasn't actually. It was on my agenda or the show flow for last week, but I didn't include it this week. But you just happened to bring it up. The I can't remember. It was like AB 24 or 45. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But it was Representative Dave Armstrong and Representative Chance Green. They put this out. They passed the legislature passed this. I believe it was a party line vote, if I recall, and it was about law enforcement and requiring sheriffs to, I guess, work with immigration, et cetera, and everything that kind of goes into that. Now, Governor Evers, as you already mentioned, I think you mentioned it, that it's not going to happen. He'll never, even if it gets past the Senate, he'll never approve this. So it's never going to happen, at least not in his current state. But if sheriffs didn't follow this, if it did come to fruition, they would cut funding like 15% to counties. What is your thought about that?
Well, it's not going to affect Barron County at all, because we do all of the things that the law would require us to do. I've talked to Dave and Romaine about it. It's not going to change anything we do. If you commit a crime, your fingerprints go in our system. Immigration sees that. If they place a hold, we hold you. There's nothing. We don't go out and randomly ask people if they have, immigration status out in the public. That's not what we do. That's not the role of this law enforcement agency. But we will, if ICE says put a hold, we will hold somebody. We will call ICE. We have called ICE. Happens about twice a year in Barron County. And sometimes ICE holds and sometimes ICE doesn't. That is up to ICE. But we will hold somebody for ICE. That didn't change us. I don't like that the only part of the bill that I don't like, at one time it was going to be fine the sheriff $250. Well, you can't fine you shouldn't be able to fine a constitutional officer for not doing their job. You just vote them out of office if you don't like them. And taking the funding away. So you can't, some sheriffs don't like it because you can't force a constitutional officer to do something. They have to follow the Constitution, and you're kind of putting some words in the Constitution according to some people.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not going to affect me, not going to affect this office. We do that. We work with all of our federal partners and we assist them to do things. If they come here to do something, we're going to go assist ICE because they're law enforcement officers. We support them. We're their safety net. There's not a lot of them. So, but they haven't came to Barron County. I don't know of any ICE incidents in Barron County. Every week I get a question. Does ICE come here? I'm like, no. Well, I heard they were. If they were here, they didn't call me and ask me for anything.
They typically probably would, wouldn't they?
Yes, because there's not that many of them in Wisconsin, so they're going to need support. It's like I don't drive to Burnett County and just go arrest somebody. I call Burnett County and say, hey, instead of me sending 3 cops, can I just send 1 and you send 2 and we help me get this guy? Mm-hmm. It makes no sense for me to drive up there. And it's not – I respect, the county lines, the border lines. You call and say, hey, I'm going to be up here doing this. Do you mind? And they're like, no. Tracy will be like, no, go arrest them. You need help. I'll send some people.
Right.
If you don't, do the interview and whatever. But if you're going to arrest somebody, we'll come help you. We don't want you to get hurt. We don't want you to be out there in the middle of nowhere, yelling for help all of a sudden. We don't know why you're here. So it's just communication. We work with our federal partners. We always have. Again, I don't see it. I haven't read the law word for word, but in talking to Dave and Romaine, that it isn't going to affect anything in Barron County.
All right. We have a question here that would take like a while, but we'll just try to keep it short. I love these questions. Do you think marijuana should be legal? We've talked about this before.
Yeah. No, I don't think in the current form of marijuana, it shouldn't be illegal. I just spoke to a high school class yesterday about this. Marijuana from the 60s, if that was our marijuana of today, I think you could probably legalize it because that's like drinking a beer. Drinking a beer in Wisconsin is legal. And driving home, you can, if you're over the age of 21 and have 1 beer, it's legal to probably drive home. Now, if you haven't eaten, it's your first drink ever, probably shouldn't drive. But most people can have 1 beer, 2 beers, drive home and be 100% legal. Okay. The marijuana of today is sprayed with all these chemicals, is stronger. This is not science. This is my science. It's like drinking a case of beer and then driving home. None of us would drink a case of beer and drive home. The marijuana today is a lot stronger than it was in the 60s. And so that's the problem with legalizing it. One, they don't have a test. Like I can tell if you're drunk.
That's my biggest problem. It really is.
Yep.
If they have a way to actually do that, if actually be able to, like a what is it called? PAC.
Blood alcohol content.
Right, without taking a blood draw. I mean, that would be, ideal. Right, for law enforcement standpoint. And by the way, just going back to the medical, I'm totally fine with that. I would prefer if it was like a pill form. I don't know if there's actually a way to make it a pill form, but if it was, that would be even better. Yeah, so medical, that's a no-brainer for me. If that can help somebody during kids, I mean, come on, that's just stupid. How in the world could you possibly be against that?
Yeah, Minnesota's medical law is perfect. The other point I will make on legalization is from a law enforcement standpoint. If I'm a truck driver, if I have cranes, if I have cement trucks, if I have any kind of commercial motor vehicle, and it's legal for me to smoke, marijuana stays in your system longer than alcohol does. And so now I get in a crash, and now it might be my fault because I'm the owner of the trucking company. How do I tell if my people, like I can make them blow in a tube, but I got to have a urine test or a blood test to tell if they're high. And so it's going to cost businesses more money to see if they're people, because if it's legal for me to smoke marijuana on my lunch hour, and then it's in my system for longer than, 12 to 24 hours, because alcohol can dissipate every hour. But if I smoke marijuana at 6 a.m, I can't drive a car for 12 hours. How can I drive my semi, my truck, my whatever? So it's just, again, small tidbits. So, yeah, it's not ditchweed anymore. Somebody just put up there. The strength of it is very bad. So,
I don't know. I'm usually, I'm pretty much on the fence about everything, except for, I think I've said this before. You'll never talk me out of that. I believe in God and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and the Bible's highest authority. Save your breath. You'll never talk me out of that. Not saying I'm right, just what I believe. And then Jerusha, my wife, is the single greatest human being on the planet. Other than that, I'm really one compelling argument away from being on somebody else's side. So on that one, yeah, I think there's, like, if law enforcement, I tell you this, if law enforcement and the Chiefs Association and the Badger State Sheriff's Association all came out and were satisfied and supported legalizing marijuana, that actually would probably change my mind on that one. It really, really would. I don't know if it would actually make me want, I don't know. It's weird, but I tell you what, I want to get on the election thing here, but people that say the advocates for legalizing marijuana, when they say yes, but alcohol is worse and that's legal. Stop saying that argument.
Yeah.
It's a stupid freaking argument. You are literally admitting that marijuana is bad. Just not as bad. That's a dumb way to start an argument. I'm just saying.
No, and I had it when I taught this class. I asked that exact same question to high school kids, and some girl challenged me yesterday, and it was great. It was a great conversation because she brought up that point. Well, alcohol's legal, and that's bad. And I'm like, 100%. But this is bad too, and it stays in your system. Mike, we already talked about you and how great you are.
Yeah, so we're just going to dismiss that one right now. Get that out of there.
But we should. But it's a good argument to have. We're surrounded by everybody that's legal, and you got to remember, if you go to Minnesota and buy some because you want to, you can't bring it back to Wisconsin. So don't do that.
I just did a story. I love doing marijuana stories, right? And I don't seek them out. I mean, it has to be something big. But we just did a story a week or two ago about marijuana, and it was like 2,500 grams. That's like almost 6 pounds, by the way. And they're two people from Minnesota, and they came over. No kidding. Like, it's not that heavy. So 6 pounds is a lot of marijuana. And, of course, it just got the crazies out. I shouldn't say crazy. People with strong opinions about it. Crazies. It was just great, all the comments, because they're so predictable. It's so funny. But people kind of miss the part that, I mean, not only do they have 6 pounds, they're from Minnesota. I mean, if you have 6 pounds and scales and bags and everything, you're not just a recreational user. You're here to sell it. Maybe to kids. We don't know. But also had a 9mm gun with, here's the part that nobody seemed to talk about. It was not only loaded, but loaded with hollow point bullets.
Right.
Why do you need I'm just saying, like, that takes it up a level for me. 6 pounds of marijuana in a state that you bring it from where it was legal, but to a place that is illegal. Hollow point rounds, dude. That stuff's scary.
It's scary. Drugs and guns are scary. And again, we don't have. That's why we live where we live. We don't have a huge problem of this. And so
ADHD. Well, I have ADHD. See, there you go. Make it legal. I'll toke up right before every show, dude. I don't know if I should do that. No.
I think that it is very helpful for different things out there. And if the doctor says you should have this, I think you should have it. I have no problem. Again, Minnesota's law was great. It should be in a pill form, not a green. I have medical marijuana. I have a green leafy bag of stuff here. So, but anyway, but we could talk about that.
Yeah, we could talk about that forever. At one point, so going into our election topic, and a segue there would be that. Oh shoot! I'm sorry. I just saw this question, so now I got to put this up. The tax on it could add funding to education from birth through 12th grade. Yeah, sure. I'm not a fan of that argument either, to be honest, Shasta. I think there's a better way to advocate for legalization of marijuana instead of. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Like, the tax could be added funding to education, but that you could say that about anything. You could say, well, we should make prostitution legal, and then it'd be safer for the individuals, the sex workers, and get them tested so they're healthier and they're safer, and then we can tax this and make money on it. I mean, you could say that about anything.
Right.
But
also comment that Colorado tried to tax it. They said, "Oh, we're going to build schools," and everybody's like, "Let's legalize it." And then they're building playgrounds and not schools because there's not enough tax money because they're still going out the back door.
Yeah. So election is in 1 week from today, and since you're not going to be on the show, we always do our election predictions, sure to go wrong. But before we get to that, I want to ask you a question. Law enforcement. So from a sheriff's standpoint, or being a cop, essentially your whole career, if you found a candidate in any race, assembly, it doesn't matter what the race is, and they check every one of your boxes. Every single box. Like, I love this about them, this, all the way down, except one. And that last one is they are advocating for defunding the police. Could you vote for that person?
No, I don't think I could. But that's the problem. I mean, and that's where you have to make a decision. I mean, there's great things about Brad Schimmel. There's some things about Crawford that I like. So about both, and you have to make the best decision you can. So, but when it comes down to that, I don't know that I could do that.
And by the way, this has nothing to do with any of the April 1st. It was just a question I thought I'd ask you.
But the problem with it is, and everybody's getting the flyers in the mail, is that you don't even know if you read them all, and no one's reading them. They waste a lot of money, and I try to glance at them every time, but there was 6 in them. I was gone for 2 days. I had 6 of them.
What?
Some hate, some love, and I'm like, it's silly to waste that much money. That's a ton of money going in across the state of Wisconsin. We're wasting too much money on elections. We talked about that.
73
People
million
are
the
buying
Supreme
a lot.
Court race is up to. 73 million, which broke the record of last year's, which was the most expensive Supreme Court race in the history of the United States at like 52 million. We're at 73 million.
Yeah, we're not even done yet. And
No.
the biggest, your biggest week is in the next week. Is the next, what is it? A week from today is the election. Right?
Yeah. And when people argue that, well, Elon Musk is and he is absolutely right. But then you can say the other side too. So then the Republicans say, yeah, well, George Soros and everyone else. I'm like, folks, you're fighting the wrong fight here. The fight should be about soft money, right? And outside money coming in. Like that's but they're so myopic. People are just lemmings. Like see the big picture.
Well, and it's driving people to say that I don't know who to vote for, so I'm not voting. And I think that's where we got to in the presidential election because so many people, there's so many people voted, but there were so many people that didn't vote. And that's where you're driving people to not go vote.
Sure.
You're trying to sell it that, hey, you should vote because these important are issues, but they're so split and you shouldn't be able to buy Supreme Court races, judge races, period. You can't do nothing about the politics. But there's no way should outside money be involved in Supreme Court races. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. A judge is supposed to look at the facts of a case, and you shouldn't be able to – you should have public debates and information about your background. That's all that should be allowed in there. Yeah. I should know how a judge is going to vote before he gets the case on either side. And so that's how I feel.
I agree with you 100%.
I just don't think you should be able to, as a judge, you shouldn't. I should convince you in the court of law about whatever the issue is, not in facts, and not because this person and that person, and I'm going to rule this way already. So I don't know.
Well, you do it in your job. I do it in my job. And everyone that's listening, if you have a job, you probably do it in your job too. Like, you know how many things I publish on Dryden that I don't even agree with? Like with a press release or a statement for people, it would blow your mind. But I can separate my personal opinions from my job. Right. You do the same thing in law enforcement. There's some people in law enforcement that believe marijuana should be legalized. But you still have your job to do, right? We don't actively seek it out, but if somebody's doing it. By the way, I want to go back to this real quick from birth funding. So here's one thing that was really, really huge, and I thought we really needed this. I think even Tom Tiffany said this like a couple of years ago. He's like, we need more funding into the research of it. But right now, it was like a Schedule 1 narcotic, I think, or maybe a Schedule 2. And now, but he said it needs to go down to like a Schedule 2 or a 3 because that opens up federal funding for more research in long-term effects. So that, like, we need to see more of that, but there isn't a lot of money going into it. Now, of course, with Doge, maybe they wouldn't have any money anyway. I don't know. All right, so...
But I love the difference of opinions. Larry said vote for Brad. Laura said vote for Crawford. But we can still be friends at the end of the day. We have to still be friends at the end of the day. We still have to make a difference in our local community. Whether Larry or I agree, it's great conversations. It's good opinions. Yeah. But it's like if I don't like the seatbelt law, I'm like I don't think you should have to wear your seatbelt. Well, it's a law, so technically I have to enforce the law. We have discretion to write the ticket or not write the ticket, but there's certain things that you don't have discretion on, domestic abuse or whatever it is. So, not that I think you shouldn't get arrested for that. Don't get me. I'm not getting quoted.
Hold on, write that down. What time was this? I go back in. All right, 38 minutes and 54 seconds. Fitzy said, got it.
Yeah. But you have difference of opinions. Try to look at the facts. Try not to look at all the noise and go vote. It's still important to go vote. You got to base your decision on whatever you want. I don't think bringing back Act 10 is a great thing. But there's sides of Brad's case that you don't like too. And so I get it. I get it. But you got to try to do your own research and not look at because I don't know. None of those ads we're getting in the mail are coming from the actual, person that's election. They're all coming from outside resources. I know. And
I thought of you when I saw one that was about Susan Crawford, and there was, and It was the something about a sex offender or something requested, like state requested 10 years. Because you and I know how this always goes. The state or the district attorney's office, they are going to request as close to the maximum allowed, right? I'm going to wait for you to finish reading it. So the state will usually go to the maximum, and then the defense will, like, they'll ask for 10 years, and the defense will ask for something egregious, like a probation for like murder or something, because that's just what the defense always does. And then the judge will find somewhere in the middle. Typically, they're going to lean a little bit more towards the district attorney's or the state's request. Usually that's how it goes. And we're banging on it for a little, yeah, right. And for like giving them 4 years. Well, I would have liked to have seen more, but but that's what you actually do as a judge. Like that's your job. And you can argue that, and I got no problem with that, arguing you should have gotten more. But how many times you and I talked about it? We're not in the room. We don't know everything that went into that decision. So be careful about judging. And I'm not standing up for Susan Crawford. I'm standing up for just judges on that one. Right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, you don't know the deals that are cut, the cooperation witness, not having to let a victim testify is a big thing. So maybe you're like, if a victim doesn't have to testify, I'll take off a year, or whatever the situation is. So,
and that's huge, because you and I both know that's like the number one contributing factor for why these cases against minors, there's a plea deal. That's the number one reason why, is because it's regarding they don't want to testify, they don't want to put the kid through this because that opens them up to cross-examination. Let's just get a plea deal. Yep. So no, I totally understand that. So how do you think this is going to? Oh, by the way, Laura Gapsky. Wait, you're off next week, right, Fitzy? Laura, if you're free next week, you should come on and fill in for Fitzy. We can talk. It's election day. We can talk politics all day. That'd be fun. Send me a message if you're interested, Laura. So how do you think this is going to end? The two main races, Supreme Court. It seems. I think the most recent I saw that he was down by like 13 points like a month and a half ago. And now it's like down by 5 points. Another one said they're tied. I don't know. I don't know. I think whichever party is the most fired up right now, and I feel like that's the Democrat Party. I feel like they're more fired up right now, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor.
I don't know that I have
I don't know.
I think Brad's going to lose, but it depends on who goes out and votes. I'll be honest.
It does.
If the people that are mad go vote, I don't think Brad's going to win. So, but
he got Donald Trump's endorsement, which I was surprised by. Not surprised, but because he was a little not uber critical, but he didn't like the Trump's his blanket pardons. He was fine with pardoning, but not the people that really should be charged with things. And let's face it, Trump kind of gets. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue.
That one's going to be, I don't know. We might be late in the night next Monday or next Tuesday night to see who wins that. Maybe not.
How about this? Let's over or under 20,000 votes decides. I say under.
I would take under too. I think it's going to be close. Or, I think it. No, I'm going to go over. I'll take the over. You take the under.
I'll take the under, 20,000 votes, because that's not that many in a state election. And then the DPI race, which nobody seems to be paying attention to.
Well, we've gotten inundated with this other one, and so you don't even know. And again, there's a referendum question on there too. I just learned about. So
the voter right? Yeah, that's right.
Voter right.
Yeah,
but we did that already.
Like, isn't that already a thing? And it is a thing, but they just want it to be so. But in the event,
they got to quit having. I mean, I know we said they should let the voters decide, but now I'm confused. Now I don't even know what to do. But Larry said, do your research. So all of us need to do our research this week. That's your homework. Do your research and figure out which candidate, what's the answer to your referendum question. Yeah. In Race Lake, we got 4 write-in candidates. My understanding is you can ask for the spelling of your write-in candidates when you apply. There's going to be a piece of paper there, I was told. I don't know if that's a fact, but there's write-in candidates now, and we have to count write-in candidates for Rice Lake City Council because no one ran, and now there's all kinds of people running as write-in candidates. So we've got school board elections and some other things going on. So a lot of local things too, besides the national. So
there really is.
Local. I mean.
Representative Gay Man Fitzy, Act 10. I just saw a story from, I remember who it was from, but Act 10 saved, I think it's over $30 billion. Not $3 billion. It was 30 since it was put in, over $30 billion. No, I mean
that could bankroll some playful if it goes back into place, and that's my concern. There's got to be a middle ground.
No
She can't
kidding.
just bankroll. And you just can't just boom and you can. That's how politics works. Boom, and they could pass a law and legalize marijuana tomorrow, and I got to make the changes. And whatever that cost is to the county, we're going to have to go to the county board and say, hey, because of this, we got this, or we don't need this anymore, or whatever. So that's why I think they need to get in session and talk about this and make these things ahead of time.
Yeah, well, they're down there now, and I think this week they're going to be talking about ROFR. That's a whole other thing. So real quick, going back to the DPI, I would assume, the incumbents are always hard to defeat.
Yeah.
Like, overwhelmingly, I'm going to assume that she's going to win again. Yeah, Dr. Jill Underly. I feel like she's going to win again just because she's the incumbent. I find it interesting, though, because, and this isn't a knock on her specifically, but just if the Barron County Sheriff's Office was a dumpster fire, you're the one that's held accountable for that, right? In terms of the election voting. Education system, there's a lot of blame to go around, right? Republicans, the legislature, all the way around. But I don't know, it's still kind of under the, I think the only thing that could potentially hurt her is the fact that Governor Evers sounds like isn't been in a huge support of her. Wasn't aware that they changed the testing or the thresholds for the scorecards and report cards. I don't know, I feel like she is quote unquote vulnerable. And, it isn't super great, and not saying it's her fault, but sometimes that's how it works, right? Coaches get fired because your team isn't playing well. It's just kind of how it goes. But I still think that she's going to win. I think she's going to. All right, so we agree on that one.
On a week. As Larry said, do your research. Everybody needs to do their research.
Yeah, and the local elections.
You can ask for a list, and you can see that in the Rice Lake or any write-in. You can ask for a list on who the write-in people are, because you have to spell their name pretty close. I'm understanding it can be a little off, but it has to be. You can't spell. You have to spell it pretty close to have it count. So you want to get it right. Ask for a list and spell it.
Oh, and what's that for?
Write-in for City Council in Rice Lake. So any write-in. But I know there's a write-in. There's actually, you have to register as a write-in. You can register up till Friday. So there's more people can throw their hat in. If you want to run for City Council in Rice Lake, you have till Friday at noon to write your name in.
Fantastic.
And they have to count every one of your names then when it gets written in. So
I don't have to take out papers?
No, you don't take out papers. And actually, to be honest,
it's spelled Dryden. That's how you spell it. So go ahead and put it in for the Rice Lake City Council, and we'll see how many votes we can get.
And
don't
you
do
can,
that.
and
don't do that.
If you do get the notice, you're going to get a call that says, "Would you like to?" You don't have to serve, but if you get the most votes, you will. If Ben Dryden gets it, so you will be asked if you want to move to Rice Lake and be in the city council.
Well, what does it pay?
Like, I don't know, $30 a meeting.
Oh my goodness! We just did our taxes. We just did our taxes, and last year, since I've been on the board. The whole thing was around $1,000. I'm like, for the whole year. Oh my goodness! Why does anybody run for these county board supervisor jobs? This is ridiculous.
When I was on school board, we used to never get paid, so we did it for free. All those meetings when I was on school board.
Look at you.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. I think. I don't think it should be. The mileage I get, but I think you should do that because you want to make a difference in your community. That's just what I think.
I want to make a difference in my community, but I also want to get paid to make a difference in my community.
Yeah,
Here is our official weather forecast from Dirk Miller, our official weather person. Nice. Well, look at that. 45 to 50s, almost 60. Wow, great highs this week, mostly sunny. Lows are even fantastic. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be a beautiful, beautiful week with some rain because we're going to have rain so we don't have a dry summer. So that's good, too.
Yeah. You got to clean off the roads and watch out for motorcycles. And I heard the golf courses might start opening. So it's great. Yeah. So
I remember last year they opened pretty early.
Yeah. A Turtleback was talking about opening maybe even this week, but I think the snow probably hurt it the other day. So it probably needs to dry a little bit. But I would guess by next week, if it all goes well like this. So, yeah. So,
all right, so you're heading this week. You're going to St. Louis.
I got to go watch some hockey. Hats off again. Jeff Wallace is retiring from Russ County.
That's right.
I'll be there next Tuesday for his last day. So I appreciate everything Jeff has done for the Russ County Sheriff's Department.
But real quick,
his career.
I talked to Phil Grassman. I had a phone conversation with him. We talked for like half an hour. That dude, he seems legit. like
Yeah,
no kidding.
no,
Like,
those
oh, and
great.
he had great ideas and passion, and he was fired up. I mean, it's. And I said you should come on for the show sometime. So he's like, "Well, just let me get my feet wet first, and then I'll come on." But no, I have high hopes for him. I really do. And yes,
So do I. He's a
Jeff
good partner.
Wallace, congratulations on your retirement. He's absolutely earned it. He's a solid dude.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's solid. He's my friend besides a coworker, and that's why I'm not going to miss his last day. So I'll have to skip next week, but do your research on the election. Oh, yeah, Dirk got stopped by the police. He wasn't. Somebody called in a guy with a gun on the side of the road, and it was Dirk with his camera.
Was it really? Oh,
Yeah.
Dirk.
So Dirk took up law enforcement's time. No, he was apologetic, and he wanted to take a picture, but we got it busy, and so we appreciate.
Must
Dirk's
be a
opportunity.
long lens
Yeah,
to have it look like a shotgun.
it was on a tripod. It looked, so.
Oh, that's kind of
And
funny.
it was dark out. He was out taking pictures at night. Someone thought he had a gun. So
He looks
we
like
took
he would
Dirk
own
down.
guns.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just kidding, Dirk.
We have
When
his
you,
mug shot up now. No.
yeah. When are you coming back later this week, or is it?
Hopefully Sunday after the championship. That would be the goal here.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. Yeah. So it'll be a long week for the boys. Hats off to them. NCAA basketball. So yeah, not much going on here. So that's good. It's a good week to be away. I got my command staff will be fine. So they'll run it.
Excellent. I think I have a IT meeting tomorrow morning for the county board, and then I think Thursday. Oh yeah, that'll be a fun conversation. Romaine Quinn for his regular show will be on this Thursday. That just regular work. So, well, we're gonna miss you next week. Good luck to your good luck to your son. Have a nice time down there, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks.
All right, see you then.
For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching The Big Show, Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today. See what they can do for you. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Yes, Bridget, I actually saw on Dirk's Facebook page this morning his pictures of the Northern Lights. Just gorgeous. Absolutely love that. With that said, I guess we won't see you back here next week. Hey, maybe Laura Kapsky will be back. We'll be on the show next week. Otherwise, I don't know. We'll figure out something. Until next week, thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.